I am still messing with the live settings, so I don't actually know when it's like clicked into actually being live. I like the idea of doing live videos only because you are now live. Okay, it says I'm live, 8 seconds in. There's definitely a lag, but I chose to have a normal latency so that the final video be higher quality because I figure not many people are gonna watch these live. But I wanted to do it live because I have a tendency to over edit myself and second guess myself. And in a few conversations I've had with people lately, there's a lot of different experiences and trials I've had, but when I make these videos and then I go back and I watch it and I edit it, I'm very quick to say like, well, that shouldn't be in there, that shouldn't be in there, this, no. And I've chopped out most of the video, and after talking to a couple of people, there's those pieces in there that shouldn't be thrown out necessarily. And so the fact that I said I was gonna be online today at 2:30 streaming live and it's now 3, I think is a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about, and that is failure. I'm really good at failing. I was making a list of, like, I was trying to come up with video ideas and like, what am I really good at? And like, I play guitar and I play Ultimate and I make videos and I do a handful of different things, but am I really like incredible at any one of them? I'm probably better than some people at them, but there's always a lot of people who are better than I am. But one thing that I think I'm really, really good at is failing. And coming up with ideas that I discard or that I just sort of leave behind. And I think you could look at these things and say, wow, he's trying things and everything he tries fails, but I'm failing forward. It's a term I've heard and I kind of liked, where things end up moving in a direction that's a positive thing. And so when I'm, take for example, bathtub tuna. Came up with this idea. If you're bored, go check out bathtubtuna.com. If I knew how to like add a card to YouTube to get you the link, bathtubtuna.com is something that John and I, who used to run Boom together, John and I made this site with some friends, and then a few years ago we came up with this idea to make a bunch of videos for it and partner with people to take the project to the next level. And after getting a bunch of buy-in and doing a few photo shoots and video shoots, we had some cool stuff happen, but then we let it go. We let it expire, and it's easy to look at that and say, well, that's a failure. You tried to get this thing moving, and you didn't. We had t-shirts to sell, and I still have a stack of about 75 of them sitting here in my office, and every time I shoot, I have to move them to a different place. So if you want a Bathtub Tuna t-shirt, let me know in the comments, and I'll send you a Bathtub Tuna t-shirt for like $5. But it's easy to look at Bathtub Tuna and say that was a failure. You tried to do something creative and sustainable, and you're not doing it anymore. Same with Scooter and I had a show called The Lou and Me Show that we made like 2 30-minute pilots for several years ago. And in hindsight, I feel like an idiot because with The Lou and Me Show, we were like, hey, we should come up with this pilot for a television show and try to sell it to a channel. And for whatever reason, to me, it never occurred to me to be like, hey, maybe this should be shorter and put online. And I wonder, had we started making that show and just putting it online 5-6 years ago, where it could be now, but instead we shot for mainstream media and television for some reason, and it's regrettable. I wonder. But actually just earlier this week, I got the notification that I didn't bother renewing. We had the louandme.com, and I let it all expire because we're not doing anything with it. Another failure. But with each of these things, I'm trying to look and say, what have I learned from it? And I know I'm doing a video series called What Have You Learned, but I'm trying to do that myself to say, what am I learning from each one of these experiences? And in each one, every time I do videos, I'm learning more about how to get better, and I'm in this moment right now, especially with video production, where I'm learning faster and harder than I ever have before. And I've been doing this for a long time. I started doing video back in 2008 professionally with CNN leading up to Obama's first election. That's like when I first was doing video production. And some of my stuff ended up on CNN channel. A lot of it was on CNN.com. And that was super exciting. And since then, even with that moment, like I learned a lot then going from sort of a hobbyist to a pro by definition. But now I'm in this, A, technology's moving really fast, but B, I'm getting bigger clients faster and I'm doing these other projects that are making things really exciting. And in this excitement comes a whole lot of learning. And like flashback to a year ago, I didn't have my Sony cameras yet, which I'm shooting log profiles and color correctly now. I had the LED panels that I now use for backlights. I had those as like my main light. I didn't have any like actual good key lights or diffusers or modifiers. Everything has changed. Everything has stepped up, and really in the past 6 months, it's gotten intense. And so as I look at the past 6 months and some of the ideas I've had for like doing a little film festival for student vloggers and creators, doing my work with the college school, there's a bunch of kids there who are into vlogging or who do video projects for their classes. And I think it'd be cool to do some sort of festival. So I put some feelers out there and got a dismal response to it. And granted, I don't have that big of an audience to really pull from. And I've done a few other like promotions for Boom to try to get bigger clients and step up. And those have gone pretty well. But there's a lot of things that I've tried that just haven't worked. And so it's important to look at all these things and instead of being disheartened by like, man, none of the things I've tried have really taken off like I wanted them to, instead, I do my best to frame it as everything that I've tried has prepared me to try something else. And I can look back and say, look at all these things I've tried. There's a lot of things that haven't worked out. Almost all of them have not worked out or turned into what I wanted them to turn into or hoped that they would turn into. But a lot of them are impressive in their own regard, and how I took an idea from nothing and turned it into something. And even if that something didn't become everything, I've got a trail behind me of things I've done, things I've tried, things I've attempted. And I think there's a lot of people who struggle as they're trying to be creators and trying to come up with other sources of revenue or income, or just trying to express themselves creatively and start a new hobby or something like that. And it's enlightening. It makes me, enlightening's not the right word. It makes me proud to look back and say, I've done 100 different things in the past few years. I've produced, right now we're working on our Parched Awards and we're producing videos for this thing. And this is like the third one that we've done with videos and like done some serious production to it. It's a ton of fun. And no, it doesn't turn into more business necessarily. Yes, it's good practice professionally, but I've got this trail of projects and things that I've created behind me and things that leave their breadcrumbs around in my history online and stuff. And I'm really proud of it. And so when I look at all these things where I failed, when I look at the things I've attempted that haven't panned out and turned into something spectacular yet, I'm framing it in a way that I can be proud of the fact that I'm still moving, I'm still pushing forward, I'm still trying new things. And the current one is this YouTube channel. And yes, right now I'm live streaming and there's one viewer. Hi, my one viewer. I don't know who you are. If you'd like to comment, go for it. But I'm learning with this YouTube channel, and I'm learning to speak and try to put my story into words, and not only my story, but learn how to story tell. That's like my big focus right now, and that's what going to Florida was all about, was learning how to tell stories properly, learning how to find them, and if I can't find them, how to create them. And so it's exciting, and again, it goes into this big phase of I'm learning right now, and I'm learning a lot very quickly. And so thank you for supporting it and watching this video, because it really does mean a lot to me. But this live video experiment is a great example of something that likely will fail. This won't turn into some regular live show that has viewers and questions and answers and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily even want it to, but I think there's a lot of people I've talked to who are like, man, I'd love to do a live show, but I just don't have whatever. Well, I have all the gear, and so I don't have the excuse to not try these things. And so I'm proud of the fact that with the gear, with the assets, and with my experience, I've put some things out there, and I've really done my best to share some of what I've learned and to share what I'm learning, not only live in this video, but as I do these experiences and stuff like that, and as I continue to level up my production and grow my company, I'm trying to do it in a way that you can follow along and learn from it and be a part of it in some way. Not only yes, am I always looking for clients, but I'm looking for people to like go on adventures and stuff. My buddy, who I hadn't talked to in a long time, John Nevergall, reached out to me earlier this week with a really, really nice message, but he's an opera singer who travels the world and performs. He's an incredible opera singer and does these shows and these productions. And he and I talked briefly, and we'll have to talk more, about doing some sort of cool opera video where we find some neat spot and create some sort of weird music video or something in a beautiful place. And we'll shape the idea fully later. And I'm excited to watch that all come together. But that's the sort of stuff where I'm putting it out there, and I'm excited for people like him and like anyone else who wants to reach out and collaborate and do something together. I'm open to it, and I'm excited to see what I can learn from you and what we can do together and accomplish beyond what I can do sitting alone in my studio. So that's it. And I'm right now finishing up a video about plays not points, which is the whole mantra behind this sort of failing and not worrying about it. We had a basketball, I'll tell the whole story in the video, but we had a basketball team in college that was horrible, and I loved it, and we had a good time. We lost every game by a lot, but if we like drove the ball through the lane and laid it up, even if it went over the backboard and out of bounds, we all got super hyped up about it because we were really bad, and just going through the videos of ourselves playing later and looking at some of these plays that we did, yeah, none of them resulted in points, but we had a really good time. And so that plays not points mantra started as this basketball joke and has since carried over into my life in a way where I have plays not points tattooed really big on my side. But it's really about making plays, trying things, and not worrying about points and if it turned into money or fame or accolades or awards, but just enjoying the fact that we're moving and grooving and making things happen. And that's what the whole plays not points thing is. And speaking of another point to fail, there's now Plays Not Points merchandise at playsnotpoints.com if you want to buy t-shirts or sweatshirts or mugs. And none of them have sold yet because it's currently a failure. But that's one where I think it's kind of a failure in light of itself, where the whole point is to make plays and not worry about the points. And so if that store sits there and doesn't ever do anything, I put a store up, and that's a play that has currently resulted in no points, but that's kind of the whole thing. So thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts about this or anything that you're struggling with, if you're trying to create live content or videos or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments or shoot me a message here or on Instagram. If you watched this whole video, thanks. If you watched it live, there's one person watching live. Hey, whoever you are. And to everyone who watches this later, thanks for sitting through this. I'm Sean. I'll see you later. There's no like 20-second outro on these that like we can put outtakes, so it's just me winding down like this.